So I just wanted to give you some perspective on the dry weather we've been experiencing and the low river flows. Try to put it in perspective. How bad is it? And also to remind people of co-op's role during drought. We have some new commissioners, so I think it's always good to talk about what we do. The drought is really why the co-op section exists. And what are the prospects for the summer? Next slide, please. So things are changing fast if you've looked at the weather report. Here are two images from yesterday from the Middle Atlantic River Forecast Center's website. On the left-hand side is a piece of the map of the U.S. Drought Monitor showing the Middle Atlantic region. So this is Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, and a piece of New York, I believe. Anyway, you can see that moderate drought has begun spreading in the region, and most of the Potomac Basin actually has been in moderate drought over the past week or two. On the right-hand side, you can see estimates of precipitation departures from normal. And the Potomac River, which is depicted in this map, is awfully low. I'll talk about that more in a bit. But we're experiencing in the past month tremendous deficits in precipitation. It's been very dry. Next slide, please. Just to look at the states, all of the states have maps of drought in their areas, and 3 of our states, Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, have made declarations of drought watches. And you can see in Maryland, the northern and western portion of the state is under a drought watch. In Virginia, some counties in our vicinity are under drought watch. And in Pennsylvania, the entire state is under drought watch. Next slide, please. So to put what's happening right now in a bit of perspective, here's just a slide on past droughts, really notable droughts in the Potomac Basin. And these are basin-wide droughts. There have been other droughts that have occurred in portions of the basin, but these are droughts that affected river flows. And so we would call those hydrologic droughts. Our drought of record occurred during the Dust Bowl era in 1930. And this drought is the most challenging drought if it were to reoccur because it lasted through December. So it would be the drought that would be most taxing on our current system, where we rely on both the river and some reservoirs. In 1966, there was another severe drought. And in that drought, in September, the river reached its lowest level ever recorded. And then after the establishment of our current cooperative system and the co-op section, droughts occurred in 1999 and 2002, and we characterized those as moderate droughts. We made reservoir releases. They were managed by the co-op staff and the co-op suppliers. Reservoir releases were made, but we didn't near conditions. We didn't near reservoir storages didn't fall to levels that were very concerning for us. Next slide, please. Here's a graph that's being updated every few days by Sarah Ahmed, just to give us, again, a sense of how bad things are right now. So this is a graph of Potomac River flow every day at the Little Falls gauge, but it's a graph of adjusted flow. That is, it's flow before the water supply withdrawals. So the dark line is this year, summer 2023. And also graphed on this figure are the 4 droughts that I just talked about. The 1930 drought is the dotted green line. The 1999 drought is the dotted yellow line. 2002 drought is the dotted blue line, and the drought of 1966 is the dotted purple line. So you can see in the past month or two, we've really been sort of following the drought of 1999, a moderate drought. That gave us some comfort that we weren't following the drought of 1930, but what happens depends on future rainfall. Other things graphed in this figure are percentiles of flow on every day of the year. You can see that flow rises in the winter months, it falls in the late summer, early fall months due to evapotranspiration. And you can also see the minimum flow that's ever occurred. That is the bottom line. And one thing that did concern us was that we were reaching the minimum flow that had ever occurred a week or two ago, but luckily we've risen above that. Next slide, please. So what do we do during drought? Some of you received our stakeholder email last week and may be aware that we went into what we call our daily drought monitoring phase last Monday. That phase is triggered by river flow at the Point of Rocks gauge, Point of Rocks, Maryland. When flow at Point of Rocks falls below 2,000 cubic feet per second, we begin daily monitoring. And last week, flow did fall below 2,000 for a while. It actually was above 2,000 most of the week. And we did have a rain event towards the end of the week in the northwestern corner of the basin. So we decided to suspend the daily monitoring last Friday. And that did turn out to be a good call because flows have risen ever since. So what happens in daily monitoring? The suppliers send us data every morning, data on withdrawals and reservoir storage levels. We review the data, look at forecasts, of course, and send out daily email reports. If things get worse, we enter what we call now the enhanced monitoring and operations phase. And the trigger for that varies. It depends on current day demands. But it's likely if flow at the Little Falls gauge were to fall to between 900 and 1,000 cubic feet per second. In that stage, we're paying attention much more closely. Suppliers are sending us data twice a day, in the morning and then updating the data in the afternoon so we can understand what withdrawals are looking like. We send out twice daily email reports, and we monitor flow forecasts, various flow forecasts that we have, and we may make operational requests of the suppliers concerning their use of reservoirs. And I'll talk about that just a little bit more in a second. Next slide, please. And hit advance a couple times, Renee. I realize this still has animation. So here's a map of our system. The main supply is the Potomac River. On average, 78% of the water we use in our area is from the river. The off-Potomac reservoirs owned by Fairfax Water and WSSC are the Occoquan and the Patuxent reservoirs. So 22% on average comes from those reservoirs. And during very low flow periods, we can make releases from, hit advance one more time, Renee, or two more times actually, yeah. We can make releases from upstream reservoirs, Jennings Randolph and Savage in the north branch of the Potomac River, and Little Seneca Reservoir, which is much closer. And releases from those reservoirs can augment river flows when flows are approaching levels that we deem are too low. So when we refer to drought operations, these are releases from upstream reservoirs where we determine release rates that are needed and make requests of the Corps and of WSSC to release this water. And also withdrawal shifts between the Potomac River and these off-Potomac reservoirs, the Patuxent and the Occoquan. We shift withdrawals on days when there's plenty of flow. We shift withdrawals to the Potomac to try to conserve storage in the off Potomac reservoirs. And during dry days when we need more flow, we shift to the off Potomac reservoirs to allow more flow to flow over our target, which is the Little Falls Dam. So many of you are aware that we have an operational target that is a minimum of 100 million gallons per day at Little Falls Dam. Another operational change we may request is asking Washington Aqueduct to shift withdrawals from their Great Falls intake downstream to their Little Falls intake to allow more flow to occur in that very ecologically rich portion of the river between Great Falls and Little Falls. Next slide, please. What are the prospects for the coming weeks? Well, you're probably aware that a lot of rain is forecast for the basin right now, which is really making co-op staff happy. Here's the forecast yesterday. We've already received some of this rain. It looks to me like 1.5 to 3 inches are forecast, so we could very well get 2 inches of rain in the basin in the next several days. Is this going to solve the problem? We do have a precipitation deficit. So here's a graph of, here's a table of the deficit. You can see the normal amount of precipitation in inches in the past 30 days, 180 days, and 365 days. And as of yesterday, you can see the deficit in inches again and in percent. So yesterday we were 62% below normal for the past 30 days. That's extreme. And 30% for the past 180 days, that's also very bad. If we get 2 inches of rain in the next few days, it's not going to erase the deficit, but we will be out of extremely dry conditions, and it will help. But we still face the likelihood of drought operations upcoming this summer unless we continue to get more rain events.